The ring that changed everything. 10-year-old Maya Johnson spotted the red Shelby Mustang on the roadside, hood up, a frustrated businessman pacing beside it. Despite her aunt's warnings about strangers, something made her stop. "Need help with your car?" she called out. Andrew Whitaker, CEO of Whitaker Enterprises, looked dismissively at the small girl with braids and an oversized MIT t-shirt. "This is a high-performance vehicle. I need a real mechanic." Maya shrugged and peered under the hood. "My uncle runs a garage. He's been teaching me since I could walk." Before Andrew could protest, she was diagnosing the problem. Cooling system leak. That's why it overheated. She pulled out a small toolkit and expertly applied emergency tape to the radiator hose. As Maya raised her hand to brush hair from her face, Andrew froze. On her finger was an emerald ring, antique gold with a crescent-shaped imperfection in the stone. A ring he'd given to a little girl named Maya at Little Angels Orphanage 12 years ago, before it mysteriously closed. "That ring," Andrew's voice trembled. "Where did you get it?" "It was my adoptive mother Diana's. She died last year." She said it was a symbol of an important promise. During the drive to Maya's home, Andrew learned she'd been adopted from Little Angels Orphanage at age 3. The same orphanage his father Howard had bought and shut down shortly before Andrew became CEO. That night, Andrew's investigation uncovered disturbing truths. His father had acquired Little Angels under suspicious circumstances. Diana Johnson, a nurse who'd fled with Maya, died in a car accident with failed brakes. And Maya's adoption records were completely missing. Officially, she'd never existed. Meanwhile, Maya's aunt and uncle revealed their own secrets. Diana had run with Maya when the orphanage closed, hiding for years. They gave Maya a yellowed envelope. "If you're reading this, someone has found you. There are things you need to know about why they wanted you." The next day, men in a black SUV watched Maya leave school. "Mr. Whitaker Sr. wants to see her immediately. The girl with unusual talents." Andrew confronted his father Howard, who'd arrived from Florida. What was so special about that girl? Howard's smile was cold. "Some children have talents that can be exploited. She fixes things, understands broken machines instinctively. Think of the military applications, the patents, the power. Why do you think we bought that orphanage?" Andrew discovered Project Prometheus, a secret program identifying and exploiting 48 children with special abilities across 5 institutions his father had closed over 15 years. At an emergency board meeting, Andrew arrived with federal prosecutor Claire Bennett. "This is about Project Prometheus," he announced, displaying documents of unauthorized experiments on minors, falsified adoption records, and bribery. The doors opened. Maya entered with Uncle Leon and journalist Marcus Hayes, camera rolling live. "You're the man who killed my mother," Maya told Howard calmly. "Her brakes didn't fail by accident." Howard smirked. "Proving anything would be impossible. One phone call and this disappears." Maya opened her backpack and removed the emerald ring. With deft fingers, she twisted the stone, revealing a secret compartment containing a tiny storage device. "Diana was smarter than you thought. This has backup copies of all Little Angels records, including your meetings about weaponizing children's cognitive abilities. Broadcasting live right now," Marcus explained. "Over 10,000 people watching." Andrew faced his father. "It's over. The prosecutor offered me immunity for full cooperation. As for you, a jury will decide." Federal agents arrested Howard Whitaker as his empire crumbled publicly. The stock plummeted. Investigations revealed decades of illegal experimentation and systematic corruption. 5 years later, 15-year-old Maya walked through the Johnson Center for Young Inventors, a sprawling complex of labs and workshops built where Little Angels once stood. Andrew, having donated his entire fortune, now ran the Prometheus Initiative, no longer exploitation, but a program identifying talented youth from marginalized communities and providing genuine opportunities. "Maya's publishing her 3rd patent," said Uncle Leon, now running the center's engineering program. "Harvard, MIT, and Stanford are fighting to recruit her." In federal prison, Howard Whitaker stared at cell walls, his fortune confiscated, his name forever tarnished. The arrogance that defined him was now just a sad delusion. At the center's first major graduation ceremony, Maya addressed the crowd. "When I was 10, I fixed a stranger's car. That small act exposed a web of exploitation, but also paved the way for something better. Andrew watched from the back, tears in his eyes. The girl who'd destroyed his old world had given him purpose no fortune could buy. My mother used to say broken machines can be fixed, but broken systems need redesigning from the ground up, Maya continued. That's what we're doing here, building something entirely new. A letter arrived from Victoria Whitaker, Howard's daughter who'd become a federal prosecutor. We found 5 more orphanages with similar programs. Thanks to your testimony, we've protected 37 more children. Some have talents like yours. As the sun set over the Johnson Center, a new sign was unveiled. Every talent deserves to flourish. Every child deserves freedom, a promise for the future, built on ashes of a past they refused to repeat. Real power was never in buildings or bank accounts, Maya reflected, watching children play freely in the gardens. It was in the ability to make a difference in other people's lives. The emerald ring on her finger sparkled, no longer a symbol of secrets, but of transformation and hope. Here's an expanded, polished continuation that deepens the emotion, symbolism, and sense of closure while keeping the tone reflective and powerful. Real power was never in buildings or bank accounts, Maya reflected, watching children play freely in the gardens. Their laughter rose into the afternoon air, light and unburdened, the kind of sound that could only come from safety and possibility. It was in the ability to make a difference in other people's lives. She remembered a time when she had chased influence through locked doors and silent corridors, believing control was the same as strength. Back then, power had felt heavy, something hoarded, protected, and feared. Now, standing beneath open skies, she understood how wrong she had been. True power didn't isolate, it connected. It didn't dominate, it healed. The emerald ring on her finger sparkled as sunlight caught its surface. Once, it had been a quiet emblem of hidden truths and carefully guarded secrets, a reminder of battles fought in shadows. Now, it carried a different meaning. It marked everything she had chosen to become rather than everything she had survived. Each glint reflected lives touched, doors opened, and futures redirected. Maya smiled softly as a child waved at her from across the garden. In that simple moment, she felt richer than she ever had before. Not because of what she owned, but because of what she had given, and what she would continue to give. Hope, she realized, was the most enduring legacy of all. Maya smiled softly as a child waved at her from across the garden, a small hand lifted in unrestrained joy. The gesture was simple, almost effortless, yet it carried a weight no fortune had ever matched. In that instant, she felt richer than she ever had before, not because of what she owned, but because of what she had given, and what she would continue to give long after this day had passed. She understood now that generosity was not measured in grand gestures alone, but in consistency, in showing up, in listening, in choosing compassion even when it required sacrifice. Every life she had touched had changed her in return, shaping her into someone more patient, more grounded, more human. Giving, she realized, did not empty her, it expanded her. The wind stirred the leaves above, and sunlight filtered through the branches like a quiet blessing. Maya closed her eyes for a moment, breathing in the peace she had once thought unreachable. The future no longer felt like something to conquer or control. It felt like something to nurture. Hope, she realized, was the most enduring legacy of all. It didn't fade with time or diminish when shared. It multiplied, passing from one heart to another, carried forward by people who might never know her name, but who would live differently because of what she had chosen to leave behind. It multiplied, passing from one heart to another, quietly and without demand for recognition. It moved through lives like a gentle current, unseen but undeniable, shaping choices, softening pain, and reminding people, often in moments they least expected, that they were not alone. Maya knew many of those lives would never cross her path again, and most would never know her name. Yet that anonymity no longer felt like loss, it felt like freedom. What mattered was the ripple, not the source. A child who learned to trust. A family that found stability. A stranger who chose kindness instead of despair. Each act, however small, became a thread in a larger tapestry she would never fully see, but deeply believed in. She had once thought legacy required permanence, plaques, titles, or stories carved into stone. Now she understood that the truest legacies were living ones, carried in the way people spoke more gently, dreamed more boldly, and reached back to lift someone else. Her presence would fade, as all things did, but the change would not. And in that knowing, Maya felt complete. Not because her work was finished, but because it would continue, long after her footsteps disappeared from the garden paths, carried forward by hope she had chosen to plant.